Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my podcast today. Today we are diving into something deeply personal but also very universal thing, the struggle that we face when our expectations don't match the reality. So, have you ever worked hard, believed the outcome would surely go your way, only to find yourself disappointed and questioning whether you even deserve what you hoped for? That's exactly the journey we are going to explore in today's conversation. So, in this episode, I talk about why we set such high expectation from my personal perspective and how our social comparison shape our choices and why disappointment so often make us feel unworthy and how to build this hope that you deserve the outcome that you have been set up for yourself. So I'll be sharing some of my reflection, example, and even a practical process to help us reframe this moment when life doesn't turn out as we planned. So let's set up into this conversation and unpack these thoughts one by one. Along the way, I'll walk you through a real experience, like in my case, the pressure of exam result, and together we will explore how to break the cycle of expectation and self-doubt while improving our English language skill as well. So, let's go. Sometimes in my life, I'm actually getting this feeling that when everything in my life going not as I expected or in a way that actually makes me feel really not worthy, it gives me this kind of feeling that I am not worthy for receiving those outcomes as I am expecting in my life. I know this is a common feeling that most of the people are going through in their life. Personally, it been hit so hard for me as I am continuously experiencing this same thought and the outcome again and again in my life.
Correct version, I don't really get the feeling that when things in my life don't go as I expect, or in a way that makes me feel worthy, it gives me the sense that I'm not deserving of the outcomes I hope for. I don't think this is a common feat experience in their lives. Personally, it hasn't hit me too hard because I've been continuously experiencing the same thought and outcome again and again. Feedback, change, going not as I expected, don't go as I expect, smoother grammar, in a way that actually makes me worthy, in a way that makes me feel worthy, more natural phrasing. I am not worthy for receiving. I'm not deserving of. Better English usage. It didn't hit so hard for me. It hasn't hit me too hard. Present perfect hits better since it's still ongoing. What you're describing actually is common, even though many people feel undeserving when life doesn't go their way, almost like they fail some unseen tests. The repetition of these experiences makes the thought stronger, which is why you feel it's not just a passing mood. Do you think this unworthiness feeling comes more from comparing yourself to others or from the expectations you set for yourself?
I think it is a combination of both because most of the expectation that I have set for myself is not honestly they are mine. What I try to mean by that is most of the expectation that I have said already are came from this social comparison that I had in my life. For example, if I look into the field that I am studying right now, still I don't know whether I truly like what I am currently doing. As you may already know, I am in the finance field. I have chose that because I had this little interest, but before I have choose this, I start to compare a lot of things that I could see on the society and what I could see on the social media on how other people's are doing. So before I choose this career path at my current self, I made a lot of comparison about that as well. And based on the comparison, I think that this would be the most suitable part for me because sometimes when we don't have enough information to identify what we truly want, I think it is natural that we start to compare ourselves with our surrounding and then getting into this final decision of what should our life be. So that is how I ended up in my current situation. And as I mentioned, the this undesired feeling actually come to me as a combination of both higher expectation and as well as the social comparison that I am having.
Correct version. I think it's a combination of both, because most of the expectations I've set for myself aren't truly mine. What I mean is, many of these expectations came from the social comparisons I've made in my life. For example, in the field I'm studying now, I still don't know whether I genuinely like what I'm doing. As you know, I'm in the finance fields. I chose it because I had a small interest. But before making that choice, I compared a lot of things I saw around me and how people. Oh, before choosing this career path, I made many comparisons. And based on those, I thought this would be the most suitable path for me. Sometimes, when we don't have enough information to identify what we truly want, it feels natural to compare ourselves to our surroundings and make a final decision about what our life should be. That's how I ended up in my current situation. As I mentioned, this undecided feeling comes from a mix of both high expectations and the social comparisons I keep making. Feedback, truly mine, smoother and clearer. I chose past tense. I compare past tense for consistency. On the ODEF, not sure what you meant. I left it out since in English. Maybe you meant out there. Rephrase long sentences to flow more naturally. What you said makes a lot of sense. When you don't have a clear picture of what you want, you naturally look at others as a guide. The danger is that this comparison sets a standard that isn't fully yours. So even if you succeed, it doesn't feel satisfying. That's why the undecided feeling lingers. Because deep down, you're still searching for what truly aligned with you, not just what looked suitable from the outside. Do you feel that if you had more freedom back then, without social comparisons, you would have chosen something different from finance?
I'm not actually exactly sure about that because I still on my way to understand myself. So at a certain point, I think it might have changed if I fully understand myself, but don't know about it yet. So if I back into our initial conversation, the reason why we feel that we are undesirable or we are undeserved certain thing I think there is a common feeling when we have this mismatch between our expectation and the true result that we are getting at this moment. So, the honest question I want to ask is, as a person, I just don't know why I made this higher expectation and thinking that everything will be go in my way. Even I work for that, it is something I am expecting and hoping the result would be come as I expected. But honestly, in most of the situation, it is not. It is not exactly as I expected. It is really ad hoc. I mean, I don't know what to say. It is not exactly as I think it is. And that is when most of the time my expectation began to fall down and make me feel that I am undeserving this outcome that I expected for so much. So, how do I actually overcome this loophole that I continuously fall in?
Correct version? I'm not exactly sure about that because I'm still in the process of discovering myself. At some point, I think things might change once I fully understand who I am, but I don't know yet. Going back to our initial conversation, I think it's the reason we feel undesirable or undeserving of certain things comes from the mismatch between our expectation and the actual result we get. The question I keep asking myself is, why do I set such high expectations that everything should go my way just because I work hard for it? I always expect and hope that the results will turn out as I imagined, but honestly, most of the time they don't. Things rarely happen exactly as I expect, and when they don't, my expectations collapse, and I end up feeling undeserving of the outcome I worked for. So, how can I actually overcome this cycle that I keep falling into? Feedback, art myself, discovering myself, clear and natural. Everything will be go in my way. Everything should go my way. Correct grammar. Result would be come as I expected. Result will turn out as I imagined. Better flow. It is really unclear. So change to things rarely happen exactly as I expect to keep meaning natural. Polished repetitions to keep sentences smooth and clear. About the loophole you mentioned, this is a very human trap. High expectations create hope, but when reality doesn't match, it turns into disappointment and self blame. The way out isn't to lower expectations to nothing, it's to change your relationship with them. Think of expectations as guides rather than guarantee. You can still aim high, but stay open to how the outcome might differ. That way, even if things don't go exactly as imagined, you won't automatically jump to, I don't deserve this. Do you want me to share with you a practical way, like a step by step mindset shift, to break that cycle when your expectations don't match reality?
Yeah, I would really appreciate if you could do so because currently I'm experiencing this pitfall in my life, which led me to conclude that and implant this feeling I am not deserving the outcome that I hope for all this time. So please feel free to share and help me out.
Correct version? Yes, I'd really appreciate it if you could, because right now I'm experiencing a big fall in my life, which has led me to conclude that something important is failing and that I don't deserve the outcome I've been hoping for all this time. So please, feel free to share and help me out. An implant is failing. I think you meant something important is failing. Implant doesn't fit here. Not deserving the outcome that I hoped for all this time. Simplified to that I don't deserve the outcome I've been hoping for all this time. Cleaner. Adjusted some verb tenses for smoother flow. Here's a step by step mindset shift you can practice to break the cycle when expectations don't match reality. 1. Acknowledge the expectation. Write it down clearly. I expected. This stops it from being vague and overwhelming. 2. Separate effort from outcome. Remind yourself, effort is always yours. Outcome is not always yours. You can control input, but never the whole process. 3. Reframe the mismatch. Instead of I failed, this didn't turn out as expected. Simple shift, but it keeps your self-worth separate from the result. 4. Extract the signal. Ask, what is this result showing me? Maybe it's pointing to a skill gap, timing issue, or even a redirect then. 5. Redefine success in layers. Don't let success mean only one outcome. Define it as primary success, the result you hope for. Secondary success, what you learned, improve, or prove to yourself through the effort. Tertiary success equals resilience you built by facing disappointment. 6. Reset expectations gently. Instead of aiming for it must happen exactly this way, try, I'm giving my best and I'm open to how it unfolds. That way, the fall doesn't feel like rejection, it feels like loop you're in, expectation, collapse, feeling undeserving, is fueled by equating result equals self-worth. The moment you separate your identity from your outcome, you weaken the loop. Do you want me to give you a small daily practice, like a 5-minute routine, that you can use whenever this I don't deserve it thought hits? It could anchor you before the spiral starts.
Yeah, I'm happy to have that. But before that, can you give me any example for the process that you mentioned earlier? So, take one of my example as I discussed with you earlier, like the examination result that I have expected for myself.
Correct version. Yeah, I'd be happy to have that. But before that, did you give me an example of the process you mentioned earlier? For instance, take one of the examples I shared with you before, like the exam result I expected for myself, feedback. I'm happy to have that. I'd be happy to have that. More natural. Can you give me an example for the process? Could you give me an example of the process? Correct usage. Simplified examination result that I have expected for myself. The exam result I expected for myself. Here's how that process would look applied to your exam result example. 1. Acknowledge the expectation. I expected to pass this exam with a good result. 2. Separate effort from outcome. Effort. You studied, prepared, and did your part. Outcome. The final mark is influenced by many factors. Exam structure, your condition that day, grading system, etc. 3. Reframe the mismatch. Instead of, I failed, so I'm not worthy. This exam didn't turn out as I hoped. It's about the result, not my worth as a person. 4. Extract the signal. Ask, what is this result showing me? Maybe I need to focus more on a certain subject, or I should adjust my study strategy. 5. Redefine success in layers. Primary success equals passing with a good mark. Didn't happen this time. Secondary success. You gained deeper knowledge in finance while preparing. Tertiary success. You faced disappointment and are still seeking ways to improve. That's resilient. 6. Reset expectations gently. Old mindset, I must pass this exam exactly as I imagined or I failed. New mindset, I gave my best. I didn't get the result I hoped for this time, but this is one step in the bigger process. That's how you take an exam result disappointment and walk it through the loop without it collapsing your sense of worth. Do you want me now to show you that 5-minute daily routine so you can practice this reframe quickly whenever you feel the loop starting?
Yeah, go ahead and share it with me too.
Correct version? Yeah, go ahead and chat with me too. Feedback? Just added a dash for smoother reading. Everything else is fine and natural. Here's a simple 5-minute routine you can use when the I don't deserve this or I fail thought shows up. 1. Pause. 30 seconds. Stop whatever you're doing and take one slow breath in and out. Just notice the thought without fighting it. 2. Name it 1 minute. Say to yourself aloud or silently, this is disappointment. This is self-doubt. Naming it reduces its power. 3. Separate effort versus outcome. 1 minute. Write 2 quick columns on a page. What I did, effort I gave, what the result turned out to be. This reminds you that effort is yours. Outcome isn't always in your control. 4. Reframe. Replace the harsh thought with a balanced one. Instead of, I don't deserve this, try, I gave my best. The outcome doesn't define me. 5. Anchor in gratitude, 1 to 2 men. Write down one thing you learned from the experience and one strength you used in the process. E.g., I stayed consistent in my study. I didn't give up even when I was tired. If you repeat this after every disappointment, your brain learns not to equate results with self-worth. Over time, the loop weakens. So let's make this real. Imagine you just got an exam result lower than you expected. Can you try step 3 right now with me? Write down in short form one effort you clearly gave, the result you actually got.
So, this is the end of the conversation. I hope you guys all learn a lot of things and learn how to express yourself in English in this kind of situation. So, finally, as we wrap up, I don't want this to just end here. And the end of our talk, we touched on a small exercise, a separating effort from outcome and reframing what it means to succeed. Now, I want to pass this on to you. Take a few minutes for yourself, write down one effort you gave recently and the result you received. Notice the difference, reflect on it. This simple act could help you loosen the weight on you set of your expectation and see yourself more clearly. So I invite you to continue this journey on your own side. And until next time, take care and remember you are more than your outcomes and you deserve better in your life. And you will deserve a better things in your life exactly as you planned. Thank you.